Something else he did is he renegotiated NAFTA.
He did.
He renegotiated NAFTA. Now, when you ran for president and when Barack Obama ran for president, you both said you would renegotiate NAFTA. You didn't. He did. Nancy Pelosi said that the USMCA, which President Trump signed into law, is a, quote, victory for America's workers. Does he deserve credit for that?
No, I think, remember, he wasn't the one that pushed that particular one that passed. The House amended the bill. So he couldn't.
He signed it.
By the way, it's a big deal, though. Here's what they amended. He was giving pharma a way out, giving them a gigantic break, just like he's doing now with pharma. They're building plants overseas and getting tax breaks for it. That's what it was about with him. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to.
He renegotiated NAFTA and you didn't, is the point. I mean,
because we had a Republican Congress that wouldn't go along with us renegotiating it.
But doesn't he deserve some credit for that? It's better. The USMCA is better than NAFTA.
It is better than NAFTA. But look what the overall trade policy has done even with NAFTA. We now have this gigantic deficit in trade with Mexico. Not because NAFTA wasn't made better, but because the overall trade policy and how he deals with it made everything worse.
I guess my only point is I'm a blue-collar guy sitting in Macomb County, Michigan, if I were that person.
Yep.
And I'm sitting here listening to your pitch. And I'm thinking, I like what he has to say, but he's part of the establishment that's been selling my jobs down the river. He supported NAFTA. He supported most favored nation status for China. And Trump did negotiate NAFTA, and Obama and Biden didn't.
Well, I'll tell you what we did do. We inherited the greatest recession short of a depression. The president put me in charge of that to do something about it. In the process of that, I was the one who was given responsibility to make sure General Motors and Chrysler didn't go bankrupt. And so we made sure they didn't. Brought 80,000 jobs here to Michigan and to the automobile industry. 80,000 good paying jobs came back. He's lost 50,000 of those jobs since he's been president. The fact of the matter is NAFTA was not the deal that was sold. When Bush said we were going to have enforcement mechanism in NAFTA, they didn't do it. That's why after it passed, and he did not insist on that, I was against NAFTA, and we tried to begin to change it because it didn't keep the deal that was made. There was not the enforcement mechanism were abandoned. And so, but look, here's what else he's doing. We're talking about trade. What has he done with trade to create more jobs in the United States? What's happened with his trade policy? Look what he's done with China. It's a disgrace. What he's done, he's allowed the corporate America to be able to make money by continuing to export American jobs. It's not made in America. Make it in another place. For example, those carry bags that the military is using, they're supposed to be made, they're being deployed, made in America. They're made in China. They're made in China. They don't do anything about any of that.
Let me ask you about China, because in 2011, when you were vice president, you said, quote, "It is in our self-interest that China continue to prosper." A lot of people think that allowing China into the World Trade Organization, which you supported, extending most favored nation status to China, which you supported, that those steps allowed China to take advantage of the United States by using our own open trade deals against us.
No.
Do you think in retrospect that you were naive about China?
No. Here's the thing. In the context of that, we want China to grow. We don't want to have a war with China. I said to Xi Jinping when you may remember, the president wanted me to spend time with him as vice president. He was going to be president, and he couldn't do it. So I traveled around the world with him. He said, "Why do you keep saying you're Pacific power?" I said, "Because we are. We are Pacific power. And if we weren't, you would not have been able to have any stability at all. It's in our interest that China be stable. It's not in our interest that China take advantage of us. Not in our interest to take advantage." So what has Trump done? He's poked his finger in the eye of all our friends and allies, and he's embraced every autocrat in the world. And it's now we make up 15% of the world's economy, or 25% of the world's economy, and we've lost all our friends. We've lost all our friends. The way to keep China in line is to make two things clear. One, we're going to insist, we're going to play by international rules. So when Xi Jinping said to me, we were going to make sure we have these air identification zones you can't fly through. I said, no, that's not true. They're international airspace. He said, what are you going to do about it? So we're going to fly through it. So we flew our bombers through it, threw our jets flew through it. Same way with what we did in terms of taking a significant portion of the Navy, 60%, and getting into Asia to make sure they could not control those sea lanes, which they were doing. What has Trump done? He's done nothing about it. He's done nothing about it. And what has he done with regard to our friends like Japan and South Korea? He's made some cockamamie deal to his good friend, sending love letters to Kim Jong-un. I mean, what in God's, I mean, to Kim in North Korea, what in God's name is that all about? He gave him legitimacy. We had firm constraints on what they could buy and what they could sell in their economies. He's blown it. He's given them so much credibility. They're closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before. He did the same thing in Iran. I mean, this America first has made America alone.
Coming up next, the age factor. I asked Joe Biden about